On an ordinary day, something extraordinary happened. I came across a poem that took my breath away. I felt lit from within. "Amen," I exclaimed. This poem spoke to my pilgrim's soul, my inner quest to discover my place in the world with a spirit of beauty, curiosity, wonder, and awe. Let me read it to you now, this poem. It is an excerpt from Jan Richardson's book, In the Sanctuary of Women. Everywhere you go, there's a secret room. To discover it, you must knock on walls as a detective does in mystery houses, and listen for the echo that portends the secret passageways. You must pull books off shelves to see if the library shelf swings open to reveal the hidden room. I'll say this again. Everywhere has a secret room. You must find your own in a small chapel, a tiny cafe, a quiet park, the home of a new friend, the pew where the morning light strikes the rose window just so. As a pilgrim, you must find it or you will never understand the hidden reasons why you really left home. Books are worlds unto themselves, aren't they? Treasures, secret portals, hidden passageways, universes of exploration and discovery. This is what this poem evoked in me. The freedom to learn and grow with books and ideas uncensored, unbanned. And I equate public libraries as a civic-minded cousin to church-based worship services. In fact, my advocacy for public libraries is how I met Shemichael Hallman. Shemichael is a millennial minister engaged in the intersection of public libraries serving as public sanctuaries. A powerful model of public witness for love and justice, inclusion and belonging. He is the author of Meet Me at the Library, a place to foster social connection and promote democracy. He currently serves as the Director of Civic Health and Economic Opportunity at Urban Libraries Council. And his 2020 TED Talk, Reimagining the Public Library to Reconnect the Community, garnered international attention among librarians and social innovators. I experience a deep sense of kinship and respect for Shemichael. I am particularly intrigued by the interplay between religious life and civic life. Terrence Smith, Chief Innovation Officer for the Baltimore Mayor's Office of Innovation, interviewed Shemichael on April 7, 2025, National Library Month, at the Enoch Pratt Free Library in Baltimore, Maryland. The event was called Writers Live. Terrence asked Shemichael this question: "Tell me about the through line that has taken you here." Shemichael responded, "Before I came into libraries, I was in ministry. There were a number of things that ministry taught me that are actually vital for libraries. I realize that churches and libraries are doing the same thing. We are both really interested in after-school programming. We are both very interested in financial literacy. We are both very interested in home ownership. Why are we not working together?" And here's the question that I found most compelling. what's the way that the church and the library can work where the church doesn't lose its sacredness and the library doesn't lose its civicness? Shemichael continued. Beyond that, the church taught me 2 essential skills. Number 1, having a vision and putting that vision out there. It showed me how you could unite people across communities, across social economics, particularly in this moment where libraries are under attack. And number 2, the art of preaching. You've got to be able to tell a story that resonates with people. My work now with the Urban Libraries Council is to help libraries tell better stories. I call this sheer beauty incarnate, an embodied, civic-minded approach to designing safe and sacred spaces for everyone. Communal gathering places where people from all walks of life can be seen, witnessed, and affirmed in the fullness of their humanity. Amen to that. Public libraries that foster curiosity, and curiosity that serves as a healing balm to cynicism and despair. Shemichael inspired me to reflect on my own through line in ministry. I realized that as a community minister, the sacred and civic worlds are intimately intertwined. For the past 7 years, I've collaborated on interdisciplinary projects with public parks and gardens, libraries, museums, and zoos. Why? Because civic spaces serve as bridge-building opportunities for joy and justice. Joy in experiential learning outside the classroom, and justice in fostering equitable, accessible, and inclusive learning spaces for all. Joy and justice. So let me share with you a story that illustrates my point about joy and justice related to libraries. One day I noticed an event at Seattle's downtown public library that piqued my interest. Come join us for Crafternoon, an afternoon of crafts with light refreshments. Sure, why not? So I hopped on the bus and headed downtown. I arrived at the library and beheld a spectacular array of abundant art materials. This, along with a generous supply of Rice Krispie treats and beverages. Fun. I sat down feeling comfortable and at ease already. The art of rock painting happened to be today's chosen craft. No experience necessary. I surveyed the table for inspiration. I noticed that my neighbor had painted the word love on his rock in red and blue. I smiled and exclaimed, "What a beautiful message." He smiled back and told me that he planned to send his rock to his daughter who served in the military. I witnessed the pride on his face as he spoke. Time unfolded with a kind of grace that felt spacious and easy, unhurried. Moments of silence punctuated by storytelling from different folks around the table. Some people hummed as they painted. I relaxed into this welcoming rhythm of sharing space together with strangers, united by creativity and artistic expression. The librarians joined with this craft making. There was no art teacher, no class instruction. We were all just fellow artists in residence for a day. One woman brought her 4-month-old baby daughter. Everyone at the table delighted in the baby's presence. People came and went when they felt like their art project was complete and they had enough Rice Krispie treats. I brought my own art project to a close with a final touch. an extra dab of paint on my red rose, accompanied by a bluebird and a yellow splash of sunshine. Afterwards, I settled into my library chair near the window, and I pondered my crafternoon experience. I felt at peace, but there was something more stirring within. I recognized a familiar rhythm that I couldn't quite place. And then it dawned on me. I couldn't help but laugh. Of course, I had been taken to church in the library. As a minister, I reflected on all the worship elements woven throughout this community gathering, beginning with the altar cloth. The colorful paints and art supplies provided a centerpiece, a visual space to draw one's attention towards beauty, calm, and contemplation. Choir. Each of us served as a collective choir of voices, chiming in with our own cadence and rhythm and style. High notes, low notes, story songs of laughter, silence, and humming. The great cellist, Yo-Yo Ma, once remarked that music happens between the notes. So does community building, holding space for grace-filled moments in life's in-between notes. Communion. We all shared communion together. Water, tea, coffee, and Rice Krispie treats. And story time for all ages. The woman and her 4-month-old baby gathered us into this intergenerational space of welcome, joy, and delight. And finally, the sermon message. That was simple. The message was love, service, family, community. If I were to name my crafternoon experience in theological terms, I would call it this: library chaplaincy as prophetic witness. Let me repeat that. A theological lens to view library chaplaincy as prophetic witness. Many of the librarians who gathered around the art table specialized as social workers. Many of the artists in residence who gathered at the table were unhoused people. Where else can you gather in free public spaces where people come together to co-create beauty and artistic self-expression with others in building trust across differences, joy and justice together in public libraries? The librarian social workers served as chaplains in the truest sense of the word. They came alongside people from all walks of life, some unhoused, some not, and met us where we were. They provided companionship, a listening ear, and reminded us that we were not alone. Here is where the prophetic message comes into play. A message of justice, liberation, and healing at a critical moment in history. Today we are living in a world of hierarchy, authoritarianism, and power over people versus shared power with people. Yet in order to enact collective social change, we need to first feel safe. The librarian chaplains provided a safe space of inclusion for all people, folks whose paths we may not otherwise cross. But here we were gathered at the welcome table, commingling with differences face to face, neighbor to neighbor, fellow artists in residence co-creating beauty collectively. Change-making begins on a small scale. Meal sharing, storytelling, artistic fellowship. Little by little, We break down silos that divide and separate us and build up trust through human connections. This is how we cultivate a posture of curiosity and wonder as a revolutionary stance against alienation and fear. This is how we cultivate resilience and resistance in the face of cynicism and despair. Beauty brings visibility, power, and connection to a world which wishes for us to remain invisible, disempowered, and isolated, even erased. Pastoral care is the counterbalance to prophetic witness. In fact, I witnessed one of those most beautiful pastoral care moments. It moved me deeply, so I'd like to share it with you. It was a heart-centered exchange that caused me to pause and reconsider my assumptions and expand my worldview. So I showed my painted rock to one of my library chaplains with some misgivings. I remarked with a furrowed brow, "I think I have some scalability issues." I said, "My rose is larger than the sun." And to which she responded, she said, "I would love to live in a world filled with beautiful, sweet-smelling roses larger than the sun." Imagine what a perfect pastoral care moment that is. So where I experienced doubt and limitations, she saw beauty and possibility. Another testament to joy and justice incarnate. The sacred and civic life working together as one. Church being housed in a public library. I am an ordained minister, a member of the clergy, a public theologian in the public square. But mostly, I consider myself a chaplain of sacred and civic spaces, a celebrant of beauty in unexpected places. My day job is to behold what is beautiful and praise it as blessed, wherever and however it shows up. And when the weight of the world is too heavy and beauty feels out of sight, I turn to my neighbor to help me see what I can't, to witness beauty and possibility when all I can see is doubt and limitation. This is why we need one another, because each person here offers a lens to the world that is sacred and holy, each and all sacred and holy. Together, may we make this world beautiful through a collective revolutionary stance of liberation, healing, and wholeness for all, one paintbrush stroke at a time. May it be so. Amen, ashe, and blessed be.